It's really hard to be productive when you feel like everything is up in the air, you don't know what is going to happen, and you feel like you have zero motivation. So today we're going to talk about how we can start to listen to our bodies, set some priorities, and to actually get things done when really we just feel like laying in bed and watching Netflix. Welcome back. I hope you're doing fantastically well. My name is Nina and I'm a life coach that specializes in personal development. Here at this channel, we talk all about our emotional well-being, understanding our own psychology, and leading our best life possible. So if you aren't already a subscriber, please take a moment and become one. We definitely want you to stay connected. So let's face it, this is a very, very unusual time. And I know for many people, we actually have a lot more time on our hands than we're used to having. However, we're having a lot of difficulty making productive use of that time and getting motivation to do much of anything at all. And I know if you're like me, for the last couple months, you've been saying if only you had the time, you were going to, get that business idea rolling, or to clean the house, or to get better in shape. But it's very likely none of these things have actually happened yet. So firstly, if you are experiencing this, please know you are absolutely positively not alone. I'm hearing this over and over and over, not only from my clients, but just from people in general, and even online. I'm seeing it all around, and I know I'm experiencing a lot of that myself. So today we're really going to get to the bottom of why that might be the case in this very unique situation now, and then we'll talk about solutions for becoming more motivated in life in general. Now, the first thing I want you to consider is if you are actually completely backlogged with exhaustion. Maybe you absolutely positively need to take a break. Now, while that is not the case for me personally, I know that when I was in my former career, that was certainly the case. My body was so run down from years and years of not getting enough sleep and having tons of stress and just not taking good enough care of myself overall. So when I finally left that job, my body felt like it wanted to sleep for like 6 months. Now, I did not sleep for 6 months, but I got more rest during that time than I ever have in my entire life probably. And that is exactly what my body needed to do. So if that is the case for you, my advice for you is to actually honor that and to really, really stock up on sleep. So if you are just completely physically exhausted, this is the time to take care of that. Now, I'm not saying we need to sleep 24 hours a day, and it's not healthy physically or emotionally to do that, but we want to make sure that we are getting plenty of sleep. And if your body just honestly needs a break, you need to listen to your body and actually take this break, because this may be the only time you ever have during your life to take a break such as this. So if that is the case for you, we really need to, again, start listening to your body and honoring that, and really start to take care of all this depletion that we have. The second reason why you may not have motivation is because you do not have accountability. A lot of people just are not good at motivating themselves, and they actually work well when there is some degree of pressure on them, or at least some kind of a deadline or some kind of accountability. Now, I'm definitely one of those people, so I can really sympathize if you are feeling like you don't want to be the one to put that pressure on yourself, that you really need something external to really get you moving. I know what that feels like. So if that is the case for you, you have to set up some kind of accountability. So you have to have some kind of measure set in place to help you ensure that some of these things are going to actually get accomplished. I don't think it's wise during this time to really try to guilt ourselves into doing more than we normally would, but we want to at least do some of what we normally normally would. So if that means you need to ask a friend to call and make sure that, you know, you went on your daily jog or whatever it is, you need to start doing these things, because some people really just need accountability. And like I said, I'm one of those people, so I need to know that there is going to be some way of checking in on me to know if I actually did the things that I need to get done. Now, the third thing that could be happening, and I think there's really no way that this isn't happening to at least some degree for every single one of us, is that we are worried, stressed, and distracted by this very extreme situation going on. We would not be human beings if we were able to just simply ignore it or, you know, turn it off mentally. So even if we aren't consuming the news 24 hours a day, it is affecting our psyche. It is somewhere in the back of our mind that we feel that, you know, bad things are happening right now. And we are worried. We're worried because we don't know what the final outcome is going to be. And a lot of people are very distracted and on edge when they don't know, again, that final outcome. They just want to know what is going to happen so they're able to prepare for that. But when we're in a situation when there's really no way to know what exactly is going to happen and what the exact repercussions are going to be, it leaves a lot of people feeling uneasy and just too, again, distracted to really get anything accomplished. And unfortunately, in this situation, it's going to be a long time before we really know exactly what's going to happen or exactly what's going on. So we need to learn to adapt to this. We need to learn to function when there is uncertainty, because if we think about it in life, there really is never certainty. We can have the illusion of control or certainty, but again, it's really only an illusion. So something that can be helpful during this time is to express how we're feeling, to acknowledge and accept the feelings that we do have. We don't want to push the feelings down. We want to, yes, acknowledge that these feelings are there and journal about them or talk to other people about them. But we do need to get these emotions out so we can, you know, try to be productive and work around it somehow. Now, the fourth thing that could be happening, and this was happening for me for the first couple weeks, and that is we are setting goals that are really too big for us right now during this unusual time. So I do not mean we shouldn't set big goals. Big goals, I think, really push us forward in our life. They encourage us to be our best self, and they certainly, again, just keep us moving forward. However, in this time where we may feel apprehensive or overwhelmed or fearful, the last thing that we want to do is to put more on our plate that is going to give us further overwhelm. So what we can do instead is to give ourselves, you know, smaller, manageable goals that we can successfully accomplish and feel good about and feel like we have a win, as opposed to having these huge goals that, again, just make us feel completely stressed out when we are already not feeling like ourselves. So another solution could be to really keep that big goal in mind, but to chunk it down into smaller, manageable pieces so we can, again, you know, feel that we can actually accomplish those smaller pieces and then slowly work towards, at our own pace, reaching that bigger goal. But we want to be a friend to ourselves right now and be realistic about how much more we can handle during this time. And the fifth thing that could be happening, and I think this one is very understandable right now, is that we're actually subconsciously clinging to comfort. So we feel like there's already been a significant amount of change in our life and change that we didn't design ourselves. So that is something that affects us differently than when we choose to make a change. So a lot of these changes were made for us and we're dealing with them as best we can, but that sometimes can make it more difficult to elect to have even further change in our life. So maybe we have a lot of things that we want to work on or plans that we want to get started, but somewhere in our subconscious, we are really just seeking comfort. So we're trying to kind of cling to the things that are familiar to us. So maybe we don't want to change how we're eating right now. Maybe we don't want to change up our exercise routine right now because we want to do the things that are familiar. So in this case, there are two things we want to think about. We want to think about, our mental health and again what we can handle at this time, and then we also have to weigh that against the fact that in life we do always need to be going forward. So perhaps this kind of mirrors our last point, where we may need to kind of think about smaller goals or smaller changes during this time, because we don't want to, cause further stress in our life. So we want to weigh what needs to get accomplished with what we can handle. So if big changes don't feel appealing right now, it may be because you are seeking safety and security, and your old habits seem to provide that at that time. So you want to think about if these habits are beneficial to us or destructive, and if they are negative habits, small ways that we can start to correct these habits and, shift them into something that is more positive, but that doesn't necessarily rock the boat so much during this time. So these are some of the things that you could be dealing with right now if you are feeling that complete lack of motivation. However, these are not the only things that they could be. So we just need to do some introspection to see what is really holding us back personally, and then try to address the specific situation as best we can. I also, however, wanted to talk about motivation in general. So eventually we have to start being productive and we have to get things done. We don't know how long this particular situation is going to last. It could be just a few more weeks, or it could be much longer. So we need to start to get into the habit of being productive, and therefore motivation as a whole is very important. So let's just talk about some general ideas for how to stay motivated. I think the first thing that we really need to do is to give our body signals that we want to actually take action. We need to tell our body that we are not resting, that this is the time that we actually want to be productive. It is so easy to just stay in our pajamas all day, just kind of lay in bed, or to, not even take a shower, to just sit on the couch and turn on the television. But instead, we can inspire ourselves right away when we wake up to hop in the shower, to make the bed, and actually get dressed. We are giving our body the signal that we want to actually be productive and get moving, because it's so much harder once we sit on that couch to actually drag ourselves off the couch and to actually get motivated to start doing anything. So if we give our body that physical signal as well as that subconscious signal that we actually do want to take action, we're going to really start to gain momentum and to start to be able to slowly get things accomplished. The second thing we need to do, and this is really crucial, is to create a new routine. And I actually made a video about doing that, so I will link that down below. But this is a step that we really can't ignore, because whether we had it actually printed out on a list or not, we had some kind of routine before this all happened. And without having some kind of routine, there's just hours that go unaccounted for. There's a lot of wasted time. We don't really have a direction for the day, and nothing really gets accomplished. Once we have a routine of all the things that we actually do want to get accomplished, it goes onto autopilot, and it just starts to be something that we do without question every single day. But we have to actually create this routine, and we have to do it a few times before it feels like our new normal. But without a routine, there's just going to be, potentially months of time that you don't even remember, or you did not do anything productive at all. The third thing that we need to do is to create a to-do list every single day and be realistic about it. So we want to make a priority list, and we don't want to put anything on that list that we don't actually know 100% we are going to get accomplished. We can have a separate list of things that we hope to get done or wish to get done in the future, but it's better to stick to the things that we absolutely know need to get done that day, so we're not overwhelming ourselves by looking at this list of 1,000 things and just giving up before we even get started. If we have a list of like 3 or 4 things, we know we can actually accomplish those things, and we're going to reward ourselves by relaxing afterwards. But absolutely, we need that to-do list. The fourth thing that we can do, and we kind of talked about this earlier, and that is to create small goals that have a big payoff or have some kind of reward at the end. So I know for myself, I definitely work best when I feel like there is some kind of reward, whether that is physical or mental at the end, but we want to have some kind of payoff. So Again, for myself personally, I am a person that really cares about aesthetics. So it is a huge reward after I have cleaned something to see how amazing and organized and clean it looks. So that immediately gives me a big reward. It gives me a big payoff. And I truly do believe decluttering and cleaning is a wonderful goal to have during this time, because we know that outer chaos leads to inner chaos. And because things are so chaotic right now as it is, we could really be giving a gift to ourselves if we add, cleaning and decluttering to our list of goals at this time. But again, create goals for yourself that, you can get a sense of reward and a sense of accomplishment fairly quickly after you start working on them. The fifth thing that we can do to stay motivated overall is to incorporate fun into our life every single day. Fun is something that sometimes we kind of put on the back burner when we are adults, which is very unfortunate because humans thrive on fun. We are playful beings, and we need to make all experiences as fun and pleasurable as we can. So we can certainly do this when we are trying to accomplish our goals. So we can listen to music, we can, have a dance party, but we want to make sure that we are really keeping things light, keeping things fun, keeping things humorous, because it is going to help us to stay inspired and to reduce stress and to also enjoy our life more overall. The sixth thing that we need to do is to try to stay inspired. So a lot of times when we are lacking motivation, we are also completely lacking inspiration. So it is up to us to try to get that back. And we need to think about the things that really do inspire us. Maybe it's learning something new. I know for myself, I hate to feel like I'm intellectually starving. I always have to feel like I am gaining more information about things, that I am learning about things that I don't know about. You could be watching some YouTube clips or some documentaries or listening to some podcasts or maybe taking an online course, but you want to definitely make sure that you are trying your best to stay inspired and stay interested in life, because once you lose that inspiration, it's very, very hard to continue to be motivated. The seventh thing that we can do, and this kind of goes hand in hand with the last two, and that is to remember to keep it light. We need to have a sense of humor about life. Life is much less serious than we make it. Every day is not a final exam. So we want to, think about things that are humorous, that are, joyful and again fun and silly sometimes. But we need to really check in with ourselves and make sure we're not just filled with stress, that we are balancing it out with things that are silly and humorous and fun. This is something that I'm trying to be really conscious of, because I have the tendency to continue to push myself again and again and again and further and further and further. And sometimes you really do need to tone it down, take a break, keep it light. I ended up watching the entire Netflix series, The Tiger King, which I thought was crazy, but that was a great example of trying to create that balance. There are a lot of serious kind of negative things happening right now, so we have to balance that out. The eighth thing that we can do is to maintain our social connections in safe ways. So yes, we are physically distancing, we understand the importance of that, yet we do need to make sure that we are still cultivating the friendships and the relationships that we do have and that are very important in our life. So during this time, we want to be extra careful about calling our friends, texting them, checking up on people on social media, using FaceTime or Skype, whatever we can do, but we definitely don't want to be isolated. Isolation really can contribute to a lot of different mental health difficulties. So we want to make sure that even though we are physically distant from these people, we are not emotionally distant from these people. And there's so many different ways right now that we can maintain these connections without, being physically close. The ninth thing that we can do, and this is something that I've been doing for the last couple of years, is to schedule days where we just tie up loose ends. If you look around your house or you just think about your life, there are a lot of things that are probably fairly close to completion that you just gave up on or just got buried in a pile somewhere, or are kind of nagging at you that they are not done in the first place. And it can be a wonderful and relieving feeling to just take a day or two a month to just finish up these these things and to tie up these loose ends. So you can just list out all these things that really do need to get accomplished. And even if they aren't loose ends, some of the simple tasks that would take, 2 seconds or under 2 hours to complete and actually do these things and get them out of your mind. It is just the best feeling to feel like you got a bunch of these things done, because these things actually affect us much more than we think they do. They're just kind of nagging at us. They are gnawing at the back of our mind a lot of times. So if we can just get those things done, just leave them altogether, make the doctor's appointments, do all these things that are annoying, but just get them accomplished, you're going to feel like you really deserve to relax at that point, and you will definitely feel like you are productive, and it makes you feel motivated because you're seeing things in real time actually get accomplished. The 10th thing that we can do, whether we like it or not, is to exercise. I actually am a person that really enjoys exercise, but I know so many people do not enjoy exercise. So if that's you, again, you are not alone, but we still actually have to do it. Exercise is something that could not be any more beneficial for both our mental and our physical health. It reduces stress. It certainly does so many things for our health, but it's something that also gives us a lot of motivation. It makes us pumped when we exercise. When you exercise, it gives you energy throughout your whole day, especially if you do it at the beginning of the day. You would think that it's something that would actually deplete energy, but it is absolutely the opposite. So if you have not been exercising, this is absolutely, positively the time to do it. It is such a gift for, again, both your mental and your physical health. The 11th thing that we can do is to really control the amount of time that we are spending on social media. Now, social media is something that has a lot of benefits right now because it is helping us to maintain our social connections. So it's not something where we want to just delete all these apps, but we want to be intentional about the time we are spending, because there's nothing that makes us lose momentum faster than sitting down and aimlessly scrolling, because there's really nothing that beneficial that can come out of it. We can, message our friends, we can do 1 or 2 things that maybe make us joyful or happy or hopefully get inspired. But other than that, if we're just aimlessly scrolling and just, not getting anything accomplished during this time, it's just kind of a vacuum of wasted time. A lot of times we sit down and the next thing we know, 2 hours has gone by. So we want to tell ourselves, okay, it's noon, I'm going to give myself 20 minutes and then I'm going to do something else. But whatever it is, you want to make sure that you are very intentional about all the time that you are spending on these different platforms, because without doing that, a lot of time actually gets wasted. The 12th thing that we can do is to really make sure that we are expressing gratitude and that we are acknowledging all the good things in our life and that we are doing good for this world and for other people. Now, we may be more limited than usual in how we can carry that out, but we do want to be acting from a place of kindness and fellowship to other people. So anything that we can do for others safely, we definitely need to be doing those things. And we want to be taking time every single day to acknowledge all the positive things that are still in our world, because it is so easy right now to focus on the negative, because if you turn on the television, it's just 24-hour negative right now, and we are really amplifying that negativity. So we want to make sure that we are limiting our consumption of that negativity and that we are spending time thinking about the positive things and expressing our gratitude. We're noticing now that there's a lot of things that we're missing, and so that means there's a lot of things that we have in our life on a regular basis that we are very, very grateful for. So we just want to, again, acknowledge that and spend time expressing that. And if there are people in your life that you need to tell them how much you love them and care for them, now is absolutely the perfect time to do that as well. So I truly hope these 12 strategies help you stay motivated during this time, and that you do give time to reflect and think about why you are being held back at this time and why you are not being able to be productive. Because a lot of times, once you pinpoint that, you can really address that and be able to start to accomplish little by little the things that need to get done. And remember, don't guilt yourself into doing more than usual at this time. Be realistic, be productive, but don't overwhelm yourself. This is a challenging time, and you need to be really thinking about your own mental health and really really addressing self-care on an absolute regular basis. So I truly hope this video was helpful to you, and if it was, please like it, share it with someone else who may need to hear the same message today, and I thank you so much for spending time with me. Have an absolutely amazing day.